My name is Minoru Nakada, and I was born in 1932, August 25. So I am now 85 years old, going on 86 on 25th of this August. Yeah. At that time, I wasn't in Tokyo. We young children were protected by the government of Japan, and we are supposed to go out of a dangerous Tokyo area to live in another place. So I went to Toyama. We went to Toyama Prefecture, which is northern part of Japan, and near Japan Alps, and it was a resort area, hot spring hotels, a lot of hot spring hotels, and our group went to one of the hotels. When we started staying there, we heard Tokyo was bombed on the 15th, and something terrible happened. And March 10th, yes. And we at night, our landlord, who was staying downstairs, had a radio. At that time there was no TV, radio, and radio news. We could hear that, and we just listened and learned that something terrible happened there. It was a duty when you go to bed. You might have something terrible, air bombing, and so we are told to prepare everything before you go to bed, so that we can escape. Yes.
What did you prepare?
I prepared next day's lesson, that was history and some history and some science book. And there wasn't any English, my favorite subject, textbook in it. So,
How old were you?
I was 13, 12, 15, yeah, about that freshman. I noticed siren. And that's a surveillance airplane, and it was flying high up, and we attacked the airplane, but our bullet doesn't reach. So
We in Japanese.
yeah. So everybody knew that we are not going to win the war. On that day, we had the siren to announce the air raid. So I got up and got ready, and I took my school bag, and then something like blanket, and then a lot of B-29 arrived, and they started to drop fire bombs. And first they attacked industrial areas. Yes, one of my friends lived in that area, and at first they dropped the bomb in that building, and we were very safe. But after that, everything went. They had to. They had a lot of bombs, so they have to drop everything, and they began to drop air bombs. And I heard at that time when I heard something like locomotive. You know locomotive? And coming down high up, and then they dropped a lot of bombs. We are told to do what we are trained to do, that is to get out of the house and go to a kind of highway to the riverside.
Your father and your older brother?
They remained at home, and they were supposed to protect our house, but which was not there at that time. I escaped with my mother and my sister, younger sister. When I came near the highway, that was in front of the post office, I remember, I heard bombing coming down. So I lay down and I covered myself with my blanket, and I smelled something is burning on my back, and it was fire.
Your blanket was on fire?
Yeah, on fire. So I got up and put down the fire and started to walk to the highway, and I looked for my mother and my younger sister, but I couldn't find them. So I joined the group of people running towards the riverside. First of all, a young man with a samurai sword, you know. He had only samurai sword. I don't know why, but he approached me and, what grade are you in? Fourth grade? Fifth grade? And I said, I'm a junior high student. And are you alone? And I said, I said, yes, I am. And he wanted to protect me. And he began to walk, joining the group of people. And the people, when they escaped, they had something very funny. And I saw one lady who had only a kettle in her hand. So he jumped into the fire, and we said, "Oh," but we couldn't do anything. That was the first time I saw people dying. I felt I have to live alone. Maybe I looked for my father and mother and my younger sister, but I couldn't find them. So I may be left alone, and I have to live alone. The young man with the sword and I looked at the river running toward Haneda airport, and we kept silent. At dawn, lots of people was around us, and they started to go back to their house, where the house was. So we got up and started to walk towards the riverbank. Then the P-51 airplane came down slowly and slowly. and they approached me, they found me, and the pilot began to take out his machine gun in the airplane and tried to aim at me. But that pilot smiled at me and he started to shoot, but not to me, about 3 meters away. And when he returned, he smiled at me and said goodbye. Oh, he didn't want to kill a kid. So. And I went to the bank, riverbank, and I found my mother there. And my sister was there, was in the fourth grade at the time. And my mother just hugged me. That's not a Japanese custom. And she said, この命さえあれば life, you are alive, you are alive, you're not dead. And she hugged me, and I remember that feeling very much. And at that time, I thought my mother loved me very much. When I approached my house, I saw my father and my brother there, and I think my brother was limping because there were a lot of pond there. It was near the Haneda airport, so it was there were a lot of ponds there, and they said they stayed in the pond up to their legs, and escaped the fire. And strong wind, blew because of the river temperature. And a lot of stones flew around you. That's what they told me. I had my treasure at that time. That was my textbooks, and I looked for my favorite subject, English textbooks. It's just heightened ashes, and I had tops. I had tops. That was my treasure at that time. I played with it, and then I had a harmonica, which was given to me many years ago. And oh yes, I found the harmonica, but it was only the metal part, and I touched it, and it was still hot. Our house was near the temple, Buddhist temple, and at the temple many bodies were brought in, and they said, you cannot stay here, please go to the school, where it was not built by wood but some metals, and we are supposed to stay there for a moment. So we went to that school, and we are given some food, and we began to spend that night there. Well, then my father's company had some houses, and they invited people working for that company. So we stayed there. I'd like to sing a Japanese song, which was introduced in Meiji era. We opened our door, and we thought that we were going to have Western culture and catch up with other people. And in Japan, elementary school, we started to have a music lesson. And at that time, a lot of musicians went to Europe and came back, and they made many songs.